Hi, everyone.
Welcome back. Checked out Retail Stories podcast. Ryan, Doug Sprankle, brother since 1986. And, you know, we're very excited about this podcast because this is going to be a good one. It features one of the greatest citizen groups of our society. But before we get into that, before we get into all the retail chaos, we got to recognize our headline sponsor, Pennsylvania Skill Games, genuine Pennsylvania Skill Games, supporting small businesses, local fraternal organizations, and, you know, fire departments across the state of PA. Vital lifeline for all of these organizations. Go to www.paskillalliance.org for more information.
And remember, it's skill, not luck, baby.
Skill, not luck, baby.
Woo. Super excited, Ryan. That's a gong. I'm super excited about this week. There's so much great information. We're taking the customer from behind the cart to in the back room and talked all about the crazy things that happen in retail business.
And we're going to do a heavy lifting interview with Mike Ross, Christiana Volunteer Fire Company, Lancaster, PA. They had a horrific event happen, but it's a great story about overcoming adversity, and it definitely tells a tale of what these volunteers do for us every day in the state of Pennsylvania.
Woo! And got super excited because we're also going to talk about the little frogs that are taking over Poland in the form of small shops. We're talking about the 16th century theft habits of basically shoplifters and how the DEA helps keep Coca-Cola alive.
Coca-Cola Classic, baby. Oh, so good. So good. But hey, it's time for what's happening this week. And I'll tell you what's happening this week, and Doug and I have both been involved with it, is we are restoring the farm. Doug decided, 3 years ago?
Yeah, no.
Buy a farm?
I saw green. Yeah, buy. No, it's
bought
by
the farm.
It's by dirt.
Buy dirt.
By dirt. Yeah. I bought some dirt, and I thought I was going to do an event there, but then you moved in somehow, and then you're like, "Hey, Doug, what are you going to do with that house?" I'm like, "Tear it down," and you're like, "No, we're not tearing it down. We're going to build it back better, brick by brick by brick." I'm like, "You know how expensive that brick by brick by brick idea is?" And you're like, "Meh, let's do it."
Well, if you remember, I remember standing looking across the farm. I mean, we bought this. I shouldn't say we. He bought this farm.
Oh, no.
I wasn't involved.
No.
I wasn't involved at all. I was actually against buying the farm.
I agree, but no. Financially, you bought the farm.
Well, yeah, now. But no, Doug's like, I bought a farm, a 40-acre farm, Sarver, Pennsylvania. I'm like, what the? He's like, oh, yeah, we're going to have events on it. It's going to be great. Da-da. And at the time, it was a floodplain, man. It was a floodplain, had all kinds of wild trees growing up. It had, you know, a old house that I think we could have made money selling it to Hollywood for like the next 10 years worth of Hollywood, like slasher movies, because, I mean, it was a scary, scary house. But Bran was actually the one, we're like sitting there thinking, oh, we need to take this house down. She's like, oh no, we should save the house. She's the one that said save the house. We saved the house. And now we're still saving the house.
Oh, you're saving the house every day. It's really fun, though. What people don't realize is that place was so old. All the original tile, they call it tile. So back in the old days, field tile was literally clay, like ceramic tile. Think about like the old mains for like sewers and buildings. Same thing. All those broke. And then we had John in the last interview talked about it, one of the wettest seasons in Pennsylvania history. So we're trying to do all this work, and it's literally just sogging down everything because there's no drainage anymore, and it's the most craziest rain in like history.
Well, Doug was nice enough. I mean, we're in the process. We redid the whole inside of the house. It was a cooperative effort. Did the outside of the house. So the house is good. Now the goal is we're subdividing. Now that we all want it to work and want to live there. Now Doug and I working on a subdivision. I'm going to have the house, and we're working on kind of getting your stuff away from the house and then getting everything cleaned up. It's a big project, and we spent a lot of time on Saturday or Sunday cleaning up, and then we have a graduation party coming up. But in the end, though, the vision is very clear. It's going to be very nice. It's going to be like a very mini version of like Yellowstone, like the Yellowstone Ranch from the show Yellowstone. Like, you know, that everything mashed, everything was very nice, everything was peaceful. So as we're going through the chaos.
Did you watch the same show I did?
Yeah.
It wasn't peaceful.
Well.
Everybody's getting murdered.
Well, no.
And then literally there's cows mooing all the time and horses and people doing stuff. And Beth is half drunk in a bathtub.
Well, what was happening wasn't peaceful. but the initial scene of, panning in the beautiful territory, the house. I mean, hopefully we don't get into that type of stuff. But like the actual scenery is what we're aiming for. Everything uniform, everything nice, neat, kept.
Oh, no, it's going to be really nice. I think you should be in sales because, man, anybody can turn Yellowstone into a peaceful show. It's amazing.
It was a serene setting.
It was very nice.
Just a lot of crazy stuff.
A lot of work to get there. Ironically, like the farm, a lot of work to get there.
Yeah, and in the stores, we got Doug and I are getting ready to go away for our annual brothers retreat. We like to play poker. We're gonna go play some poker for a couple of days. It's just we don't play crazy stakes or anything, but we just have a good time. But it's nice because it's our annual getaway. We started a couple of years ago, and I think it's important. You only get so many spins around the earth with your brother, so taking that time out is very important. Excited about that, but in the process, frankly, trying to get everything lined up, the ad, everything that stores need, making sure all the fires are put out or there's a plan. Getting it all done before you leave is wild.
Writing and shooting a podcast while trying to do all that.
Two episodes.
I was right, 2 episodes this week. Wow. Zen, baby. Don't worry. When you look at those folded up aces, you're gonna be excited. You're just gonna be peeling, as they say.
Come back next week for those WSOP fans. Come back with a bracelet on this wrist, maybe. Who knows?
You can buy one in the gift shop.
Yeah, probably will have to buy a replica. I don't think they sell those. But hey, it's time for this week's Boom Retail Stereotype with Doug.
Ryan, we go back to the, there's always characters in the store that are working. And one of my favorite this week, retail stereotype, is the store archaeologist. It's the guy that knows what's going on, that knows all the stories, that there's a dead guy from 1942. It's the archaeologist of the store is this week's stereotype.
And it's great. Every single store that we've ever dealt with, owned, operated, known people from, you got that person, that guy, that girl that just knows everything. The go-to person, the key person that can tell you, okay, this thing's broke. Okay, 30 years ago, I remember the same thing happened, and this is what we did. They're critical, but they do like bring it up in different ways. And sometimes it's not always like the greatest intentions of how they bring it up.
Oh, yeah. And again, they're always one of the core players, too. And they're always back there, like they're crawling through like Indiana Jones, like, underneath the cases. They knew where all the pallets were and what happened with what happened with different displays. And, sometimes they go off the rails and are like, we tried that idea 30 years ago. It didn't work then either.
Well, and yeah, that's true. And the other thing is there's all the folklore. Like every store has this folklore, like a Catanic store, for instance, if something happens that can't be explained, they blame it on Bob, the ghost.
Oh, yeah, the Bob.
Bob, the ghost, who was a former butcher, meat manager, whatever, and now is haunting the Catanic store, as you would say, allegedly.
Allegedly haunting the store.
Allegedly. I will say that I've spent a lot of time in that store after hours. I mean, my office is in a place in the store that a lot of people would consider scary. And, I will say, like, there have been some times where I will say that, like, what I heard couldn't be explained. Now, I haven't seen anything, but there's been some wild stuff. One thing I've learned is with all these old buildings we've dealt with, you just got to roll. Uncle Tim, who we, unfortunately passed a couple months ago. We had an episode in tribute to him. He always used to say, nephew, it isn't the dead you got to fear, it's the living.
That's a great line.
He told me that a long time ago when I was like a kid and still like a early teens and still afraid of like ghosts and all this stuff. And that really like changed my mindset because it's true. Like, how many people have ever said, can you believe that freaking ghost came up and kicked me in the throat last night?
Nobody says that. Unless you're either on something or you have a precondition that you should be on something.
Yeah. Again, if somebody comes to me with a reference that isn't some kind of a Hollywood script or something they saw on Ghost Hunters or something like that, if somebody comes to me with something other than that, maybe I'll think about it. But yeah, you don't have to fear the dead. So, hey, I'm up there with Bob. I'm drinking my coffee. I'm listening to John Cougar on the radio. He's making all kinds of noise in the next room, and I just roll, man.
And for those who don't know, Katanning was actually, you guys remember the old cave paintings? Like you see this archaeologist would find like a zebra or something on like hand painted from 10,000 years ago on these cave walls. Katanning was a modern version of that, but instead of cave paintings of giraffes and animals, there was who Nancy was hanging out with at the time and what she was doing. And literally the entire wall had all these little hidden stories about everybody. And our old stalker there, Nate Dogg, he'd be like, oh my God, look at this one. And I'd be like, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, so literally your walls are like the artifacts. And it's funny, without the modernization of the grocery industry, so before 1900s, you used to go to the store, give them your list, they'd go on the wall and get all your stuff. Then it wasn't until Piggly Wiggly in 1916 when Clarence said, you know what, we're going to change it, started creating supermarkets like we know today. That hidden spaces on the fringe of the store is where all this stuff started to get hidden. And it's where that space has created this modern archaeologist, because just think about it. You could buy something, throw it in the back room, not see it for 20 years. When I bought Saxonburg, there's 30-yard dumpsters. There's 10 of them of just junk from the top of the dairy coolers.
Well, and I will say this, hopefully you didn't throw it all out, because lately I've been going around. It wasn't my idea. One of the fans, chimed in, hey, you should start taking pictures of different things around the store. So I've been sending Mac some pictures from around the stores of just like old Marlboro pictures, old hand trucks, stuff like that, and posting it. It's one of the most popular posts each week now is the throwback post. So as you're going through and you see that, or your people see that, tell them, hey, take a quick pic and send it. And we're talking about ghosts. We're talking about the history of stores. Leechburg. Do you remember Leechburg's ghost? What the name?
That's Stanley?
Yeah, Stanley the ghost.
Famous.
It's famous, and but you're right. These stores, these old buildings, they get this like the folklore builds, and who knows? I mean, like I said, there's been some unexplainable things. I've never had an instance like that at Leechburg, but I have had quite a few at Katanning.
I'm not sure about your Phantom ghost, but I had some real ghost employees that stuck me with like $20,000 orders and then disappeared, and I still have to deal with the $20,000 order. They're a real ghost. No, but here's a question. What is the coolest thing that you found in the back room? Like one of these old artifacts?
Honestly, it was what I just mentioned. It was the at Leechburg, it was it's still hanging in the back room above the office, going into the administrative office back there. The old Marlboro sign with the Marlboro Man, from circa mid 80s to early 90s. But, it's the Marlboro Man. It's a clock, and it's been hanging there ever since. It's just cool. It's a cool, it's cool to see in all the newness of the world, the fact that that store, that building has stood the test of time over, 70 years now.
And right beside it's the original RC Cooler lettering.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you or I need to take a picture of that and share it with the
That's a cool one.
Out there. It's pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
The neatest thing for me was in Vandergrift, the Olivers kept the original 1996 R2D2 Pepsi cooler.
No way.
It was a little R2D2, and he had pop in it. And when we bought the store, I'm like, that comes with it, right? They're like, oh, no, we're taking that. And I'm thinking, we just bought the store.
I don't blame them.
You got the bag. Go away. Give us the R2D2.
I don't blame them.
It's only $700 though.
Yeah, but it's a collector's thing. And I'm sure when they first got it, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, it'd been nice if they'd have left it, but I don't blame them for taking it.
That'd been some good ROI there.
Yeah, definitely.
But Ryan, I'm excited. Also, all the stuff we talked about is vintage now, but you never know. It could be an investment for the future. All the antique stuff. But I'm excited. We're going back. Speaking of origin, though, we have a great origin story this week.
Oh, this week's origin story. It's so fitting because, Doug and I, our dad, our parents, our mom, our grandparents, everybody that's funneled down to us, they were all entrepreneurial in their own ways. And they all had side hustles. We've talked before about, our Pap Welsh, our mom's dad, he was a union electrician, then became a boiler inspector. That's why you named Jim's boiler room, the skill room, and skill games room in Saxonburg. But he that was his base. That was his day gig. But he also had side hustles. He was a bus driver for sports games for the local school. He was an electrician, a union electrician, trained and certified. So he had a side hustle as doing electrical work. And then, Pap Sprankle, he was, by day, he worked at the paper mill. He was the fork truck operator. Ironically, we do it so much at Katanning. But then on the side, he and Uncle Junior had a horse trading business. I mean, they were horse traders and trainers. So, I mean, everybody has kind of like brought that down to us. And so with that mindset, when we were coming up in the business, we had our base salary, which wasn't wasn't crazy because it was a small business. Dad paid us well, but I mean, he could only pay us so much. So we were always looking for side hustles. You know the one I'm talking about.
I know the one you're talking about. Literally, there's roads in Katanning that still have dents from when the machine fell off the back of my truck. But yeah, no, I mean, I remember we're like, you know what? We're going to get some firewood. And I think we got 3 cords and we hand split using a machine, but still hand split 3 cords, bagged it over a weekend.
And you remember, like, it started out, okay, we need to sell firewood at the stores because we hadn't really sold firewood at the stores and we knew there was a need. Some people were asking for it. So we're like, at the time we had, I think, 5 stores and we were like, we need to have firewood. So Dad's like, we need to have firewood. And we're like, well, why don't we produce the firewood? You buy it from us. We sell it at the stores. We take the wholesale end. We thought it was the most genius thing in the world. We did make some money, but man,
oof.
If anybody has ever just had, a splitter, had somebody drop 3 cords of raw, just lumber, various sizes, and a pile, and you have your log splitter, and then we had a bunch of, didn't we have like shrink wrap, just regular
we shrunk wrap it, yeah.
We didn't have like handles.
No.
Just shrink wrap. So like think about this. 3 cords of wood, massive piles, taking it through a splitter, putting it in bundles, I think 7 a bundle.
That sounds right.
7 halves. And then like hand rolling it with shrink wrap, one after the other. By the end of the weekend. I remember I woke up on Sunday because we did it Friday night, Saturday all day. And I remember I woke up on Sunday and I'm like, oh, I can't move my arms, man. I can't move my arms. Like, I could feel and I mean, I was young at the time. I was in great shape. I could feel like every knuckle, which as you get older, you can feel it every day. But like at that age, you shouldn't feel it.
No. And it didn't end there because like the pain and suffering, I took it on, I think it was your truck. I borrowed your truck and I was taking it back up to Wim at the time. It was his splitter. And you know where the Sheets is, where the Busy Beaver used to be? So you go up to West.
Yeah, I just got actually it was Trader Horn.
Is that West Katanning? No.
It's East. Like Katanning Township.
Okay.
Yeah, I just got the police called on me for making a couple phone calls in the parking lot, vacant parking lot. Thank you to whoever's out there that made those calls. Thank you.
Obviously not a big fan of sprinkles.
No.
Anyway, weird.
Anyways.
So I'm driving through the intersection. I just get through the light. I'm making a left there where or right there where the prison is. As I'm making the right, all of a sudden I hear, ka-chung, and I'm like, what? And like a dragging noise. And I look back and the log splitter is just dragging on the chains, the safety chains. So I get out. I'm like, oh my God. So I look back and the ball's nowhere. I'm thinking, where did the ball go? The ball's nowhere. And so there's no ball. And there's nothing else. And I'm thinking to myself, how could this have happened? Because usually the balls hold on to the thing. And so I look up inside like the socket thing, and the ball's still there. The ball's inside because it holds it in. But there's no nut, and like it came out, like there's basically a flat piece of metal. There's a nut, a lock washer, and a nut that goes on the bottom, and the ball sits on top. This was gone, and then the ball is up inside the trailer. So I get to the side. Luckily, there's a Napa there. I walk into the Napa and get the thing, and here, because there was no lock washer put on it, it just spun off. Luckily, I wasn't going high speed. But then I got to Wim's house, and I'm like, never doing this again.
No, and we never did. That right after that, we did make a decent amount of money between the two of us, but we both just decided, man, we're gonna figure out other ways to make money, and we're gonna buy from other people that have the proper equipment, and we're gonna sell. And that was the last time we tried that. But it was just that's what's helped to make us successful. That's what's helped to build everything that we're trying to work on is that mindset of just constantly looking for like, okay, opportunities to take on one more piece, to make something happen, you know?
And that's a great segue because, talking about the synergy, this week's corporate word of the week, synergy, working together to achieve a common goal.
You know, it's such a great word, synergy, and it is a corporate word, but man, I'll tell you, it just applies. We just, in our interview with Mike Ross, the president of the fire company, Christiana, Lancaster County, he said he didn't use synergy. No one really does it unless you're in the corporate world. Like, let's face it, we're not, hey, we need to work on our synergy today, everybody. No, I mean, but it is what it is. I mean, synergy, bringing everybody together, getting everybody on the same page towards a common goal, sharing the strengths. I mean, Mike, he mentioned it in the interview. He's about, using the different departments' strengths, different equipment that different departments, have an advantage over the other ones, kind of cooperatively making it happen together. The synergy is amazing. And same in, in our environment. I mean, let's face it, in our stores, we look for who's strong at what, even amongst you and I. Who's strong at what? Okay, why are we both doing this? You're strong at that, I'm strong at this. Let's work on this, and let's hire people where we're weak. And so we've done that. And then the synergy of all of that energy and all those strengths, all that working together, it creates a beautiful thing.
It's funny. And synergy actually really goes back. But did you know there was an investment banker in the 1990s to justify multi-billion-dollar corporate mergers? Synergy had a completely different life. The word comes from the Greek synergos, which means working together. But back in 1950, it was strictly a theological term.
That's interesting. Well, it makes sense because only theologians could read before, very recently.
I mean, 1960?
I mean, seriously. I mean, there was a lot. You look up the literacy rates in the United States pre-1950, it's really unbelievable where we've come. We take it for granted. It's laughable now. But it wasn't always a given, man, that you could read.
Well, I'm glad we came farther than we did back then. But yes, 17, it's a synergism, the doctrine of human willpower to divine grace, working together to achieve salvation. So literally the cooperating with God to save your soul.
Well, I mean, that sounds like my next warm up in some kind of a manager's meeting. I'm gonna be like, it'll be like the Belushi brothers, from what was that? What was that? Blues Brothers.
Blues Brothers.
Yeah, it'll be like Belushi. Yeah, it'll be like Belushi, the Blues Brothers, the movie. We're on a mission of biblical implications. We're on a mission from God. It's about synergy, people. Let's get to work.
That's amazing. But yeah, so basically, originally it was to create the idea that, synergy with your Lord and save your soul. But by the 1980s and 90s, it was now the word synergy in the meeting, which is usually a warning sign for a long, unproductive meeting of just, blah, 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 which is funny because it's always like the middle manager. It's like, oh, I'm going to use these crazy words and nobody's going to listen to me. And it's going to look like I'm doing my job, even though I'm not really doing very much.
No, I think it's like your dogs. They just lay around the house. But where's your dog? I don't want to make sure. But before, you mentioned the W word, W-A-L-K.
Oh, don't say that.
Or the T word.
Yeah,
T.
Stop it.
I don't think your dog can read. I mean, people couldn't read before 1950.
Oh, she can read.
The T word, T-R-E-A.
Yeah,
you mentioned these words, and all of a sudden, boom. And I think it's the same way in a meeting, corporate meeting. The guys up there announcing the plan for the year, the quarter, whatever. Everybody's just like, oh. And then all of a sudden you hear synergy. What? Wait, synergy? Oh, that's not good, man. You start looking around the room.
Who's getting clipped?
Who's getting clipped, man? Who's going next? Synergy. Wait, what? I mean, the only thing worse than hearing synergy in a corporate meeting probably is restructuring. But I think people have gotten past. People aren't going to say restructuring because it's going to shut it down. Synergy makes it sound like, hey, we're still working towards something. But even though when I say we, a third of you aren't going to be a part of that. But hey,
I'm going to start using these corporate words when I get everybody ready for the truck in the morning. I'm going to be like, guys, we need to have some cross-function synergy to get this truck done. They'll be like, huh? I'm like, we're going to do some cases.
Well, after watching this, I think you're going to get a lot of productivity because they're going to hear synergy. They're going to think, whoa. I don't think I want to be synergized here.
No.
I think I want, Andy over there to get synergized.
No, unless you're getting closer to God, they don't want to hear synergy.
Synergized. I like that. It's time to get synergized. Time to dance. And now, guys, Genuine PA Skill Games, powered by Pacematic and supported by PA Skill Alliance, are dedicated to fostering growth throughout the Commonwealth. These games have been instrumental in supporting local fraternal orders, fire companies, bars, and retailers by keeping businesses operational, maintaining employment, and funding community projects. With over 5,000 communities across Pennsylvania, it's highly probable that Genuine PA Skill Games are working hard behind the scenes in your area. They ensure the vitality of our main streets, restaurants, bars, and stores. By supporting PASkillAlliance.org, you are investing time in your community, employing your neighbors, and contributing to local nonprofits. Together, we can help keep Main Street open for business.
Hi, guys. Do you know on the show here, we like to cover a lot of Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth history, whether it's small businesses, fraternal orders, or just people in their business. It's a pretty amazing experience. But guys, today we peel back the veil a little bit and realize that the safety net in Pennsylvania doesn't always apply even to our most valuable members of society, including our local fire company members.
Yeah, and back in June, Christiana Volunteer Fire Company, Lancaster, PA, unbelievable, unspeakable act. I mean, if you're going to rob from somebody robbed their fire department and went as far to take $50,000 and their jaws of life, which, I mean, come on, man.
That's crazy. I mean, if you think about it, like when you call 911, the fire company shows up, you want to make sure they have 50 ladders, all the respirators they need, and where else they need, because you know what? I don't want to die.
Insane. It's just insane.
It's crazy. But you know what, though? They came back, and through the partnership of Pennsylvania Skill and local operators, they got the money they needed to put security cameras in to help keep their place protected and get the equipment they need to help save lives every day. Today, with our friend Mike Ross from the Christiana Fire Company is here with us today. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Mike, is it true what I said? I read 140 years of service, the Christiana Volunteer Fire Company.
Yeah, we were chartered in 1884. We were actually around way before then. So we have a lot of history here.
Wow.
Christiana is actually, you guys probably don't know this because I was local. I grew up in the town beside me and I had no idea. We were actually Christiana was a pivotal point of the Civil War. The town's motto is "Freedom began here." So I heard you guys really liked history a lot. So if you ever want, Google the history Christiana riot, and it's pretty interesting. Very big Underground Railroad town. My house actually has Underground Railroad stops built into it, so it's really cool. Old town, a lot of history here. Some great residents.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Can you do any? Is there any like tours or anything like that available, or is it like?
So there actually is. There is actually. I'll give you guys some info so you can post it on here. We have Underground Railroad Museum right in town here. This town is real big on history. We have an entire historical society where they're redoing some original houses that we still have here on a property. So it's going to become a historical museum there.
Wow, that's amazing. Awesome.
So all American town, even we get hit with stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, so before we get into the issue, you know, for those who are out there to understand, Pennsylvania is very unique in a lot of ways. Over 90%, 98% actually of all fire companies are volunteer. Correct, Mike?
Correct. And we are one of those 100% volunteer companies.
So guys, imagine this. You're 2:00 in the morning. You just got done the great barbecue, hanging out, you know, hopefully sleeping at that point. You get a call. It's volunteers that are showing up. And the crazy thing is, for the most of Pennsylvania fire companies, it's not like they're funded by local taxes. They're not funded by property taxes. They're self-funded through the fundraising efforts every single day that they do. You know, when you hear that bingo, when you see the annual ticket come out, that is their number one source of income that helps pay for trucks. And just walk us through that a little bit of that, Mike. Like, talk to people about, like, you know, the sticker shock of equipment, outfitting fire company members, and the trucks, all of it.
It's unheard of. So basically, when you go into the fire service, you're like, wow, check out this iPhone. I really like it. It's $1,200. Well, now over here, we have the special fire edition iPhone, which is the exact same thing, but it's got a different label on it. That's about 5 times more expensive for the exact same piece of equipment. It's not
Wow.
like that with everything, but you have that type of sticker shock when you're trying to look at things. I was actually tasked to put a committee together here to buy a new truck. We have a truck that's 20 plus years old that's failing. So we quickly saw that we can't afford a new truck, no matter what we did. You sit down, you're like, wow, I really want this. I want this truck to have this, and this. Well, when you spec it out and you look, and the unit coming off the line, which is the bare minimum, are at almost $1 million. You really can't add too much to that, or even that wasn't even in our cards. So we had to bootstrap it, hit the ground, go looking for a nice used piece of equipment. So I think that kind of encompasses a little bit of everything that we deal with every day. Everything comes along that line. We deal with the same issues that you deal with at home. Our electric bill's going up. Our electric bill last month was $900, and that was not anything special here. We have to support anybody that we have renting it here. We're lucky with our community because they cover our water, sewer, trash. So our local town covers that. But we have the same sticker shock that you guys have with just normal bills. And then we start tapping into that territory where, hey, here's a normal saw. Here's the fire saw. It's twice as much because it has this little special feature on it. So it's some crazy sticker shock, and just the inflation with things, the way that they're going up. You can look at something this week and you're like, okay, well, guess what? We got the money. Let's go to the meeting next month and get it approved to purchase. Price went up 5%. So you get into this vicious circle where you're like, wow, I can't afford this. And now it's an administrative nightmare.
Well, I just added something to my list. I have a personal list of all grocers, all managers of grocery and retail. We always complain. Everybody complains. I mean, it's human nature to complain about whatever your situation is. But I've found that there's two groups in business that I don't go into that conversation with because I can't compete with the level of intensity that they go through. Farmers and restaurant owners. Those two, I mean, hats off to them because they go through it. But I gotta say, after hearing what I just heard there, I gotta add fire departments, even though it's in a different category. You're still, like you said, you have to make ends meet. You have to make the budget balance. I'm gonna add you to the list, but I gotta ask you a couple questions. So, with volunteerism in this country, because everybody's so busy, everybody's pushing it, everybody's trying to do a lot of things, so it's really tough to get people to volunteer, and especially in your situation because there's so much involved as far as training, such a commitment of time, being on call 24/7. I mean, you got to be a special person, and hats off to the firemen in the world because I mean you got to be special to be able to do that. But one thing I got to ask is this: two questions I think will be very interesting to viewers. How much? It's a two-part question. How much is involved when you see a fireman? How much money went into that fireman? That's part one. Part two is with everything struggling to get people to volunteer. How do you go about trying to retain and recruit new firemen?
That is the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life, both of those things. So when you see a fireman walk in the door, it's kind of endless. It depends on if you want to look at one of the Christiana Fire Company's firemen, or do you want to, look at a bigger fire company that gets a lot of money, like up in Harrisburg or a city. So with us coming in, there's a great difference. We might not have, the cool frilly little stuff. We still have the same turnout gear, the hat, the coat, everything. You're looking at about $6 to $8 grand just for that gear to put on, with the boots. Halligan bar, it's a nice piece of iron. You're looking at $200 to $300 for a nice heavy one, with your axe with it and everything, and that's cheap. And that's just the beginning. It just scratches the surface on it. I mean, the radios. I mean, some radios, handheld radios that we have on our jackets, you can get up to $7,000-8,000 per radio. We obviously don't have those. We are scaled back a lot less, but when you just see it, it's just insane how it adds up for one single person.
Well, the next time anybody out there goes past a boot on the corner, instead of throwing in your change, grab a one. If you got a one and you can get a five, grab a five. Like that, just keep that in mind as you're going through with those guys with the boots hanging out.
I literally walk around 90% of the time with a t-shirt that says support your local fire department wherever I go. So, and that's my mantra. If you need to eat dinner, try to go grab something to eat from there if you can. if you don't do it now, they might not be there when you need them. So the way the world's working, unfortunately, is that, or I mean, it's where the volunteers are declining. You can see in the fire EMS industry and everything as a whole, everybody's getting tired.
Well, it's a lot of work, and one of the things that we have a really good relationship with our local fire company, and it's a little bigger. It has a couple different organizations, and it has fundraising. But it also has a firemen's club. The most interesting thing is I was riding down a normal road that we have in this area up to Butler one day, and it's amazing when you ride with a fire company guy that's been there for a while. They can tell you that that road has like 100 wrecks on it, and they can remember all the wrecks. Like people don't realize, like your normal day, you don't see all this crazy stuff because I mean, most accidents happen either in the evening or after work or later in the evening. But it's just amazing the amount of stress that gets put on our fire company. They're volunteer, they're underfunded, and they have they have to go there and still get the job done. And most of the time, very dangerous situations. With you being the president and being involved, you've been, did you come up with this? Did your parents get involved with the fire company? How'd you get involved with the company originally?
So I'd like to blame my family. No. So it's been a family thing. My uncle was he's a past president, actually, of this fire company. So he kind of passed the torch over to me here. Prior to that, he was a fire chief. He ran with a couple other fire companies. And I kind of just got into it that way. What we try to do here is with all our members, everybody has a place. I have an extensive business background, so I do the business here and business side and money. Our fire chief is actually a paid firefighter in a major city. So he also does that as well. And then we have our membership. It's even down to local business owners. We have a couple guys that service small engines for us. If we can save $20 here and there, we do that. We do a lot of our maintenance in house here. So it's kind of going into that recruitment and retention. We tend to look for things outside of the box because when you get to it here, I mean, we're in Pennsylvania. We're a fire company. Within driving distance, there's a couple other fire companies that people can go to if they want. We try our hardest to keep people here. And the niche is, if you're happy, I want you to stay around here. So I try, and our leadership here, we try everything to do make people happy. We tell them thank you. We give them some incentives. We buy them lunch. The big thing that we try to do here is we're no important than you are. It doesn't matter if we're the president or the fire chief. We all work together.
Well, I will say this, Mike, that's all great. And I mean, I was sitting here listening and I was like, wow, if this guy ever decides to open or buy or whatever, an independent grocery store, I mean, you got my vote, man, because I'll tell you what, everything you just said is the key to running a grocery store. It is. It's the details. It's the little extras you can give somebody that maybe isn't monetary, but it shows care. It welcomes them, creates a welcoming environment. The culture's so important in our business, and it's. We've interviewed a lot of people, and it's funny. That is one thing that's very common in all the successful people that we've interviewed, no matter what they're doing. The culture that they create and the little extras they put into making that culture welcoming and making people want to be a part of it is what brings them back. So it's no secret why you guys, have been able to overcome everything you've overcome over really 140 years, because I mean, that's the secret sauce right there, man.
Yeah. And we try to stay aware. This is the part where I said, this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. You have to sit here and say, okay, like Wednesday night here is bingo. I'm like, all right, I need 3 people to help me out with bingo this month because this person's on vacation. Unfortunately, the thing we're going with is that person passed away, so we don't have them anymore because we're aging up with our older folks. So we have to sit and play the game. I call it rob Peter to pay Paul. I can't ask the same guy who's doing 800 hours of training to become certified and also running fire calls and also working next week to come out and help me Wednesday night. So it gets a little bit challenging. And I think just teaching the culture here of everybody thinks that, hey, I'll get Mike to do it. He's cool and we're good. You got to think a little bit more. I'm going to ask Mike to do it. But before I ask Mike to do it, what else is he doing? And how am I going to, stress him out? I don't want him to go away. So there's a lot of just camaraderie, taking care of each other that we do. So
the people are the core of the business, and as you said, I mean, you gotta respect the fact that time is important to them as well. And I know that our local fire company runs 500 calls a year, and so I mean that's at least 1.5 a day. So it's one of those things where you got, they not only do they volunteer for that, they also volunteer to raise funds so they can do that. And it takes us in kind of into our next thing. A year ago in June, or 2 years ago, a year ago,
A year ago.
yeah, a
About
year
two.
ago in June, it probably took you what, a couple of years to raise all the money to pay for that equipment originally. You had somebody made a really bad choice and take your equipment.
Yes. Yeah. So what happened is I was actually walking over here to prepare in the morning for a event we were having later that day. And I walked through, didn't even realize, because you never think anybody's going to break into a firehouse. I'm walking through and I see the truck open and the tools there. I'm like, okay, the tools aren't here. That was nice that they told me they sent them out for maintenance. So, of course, the awesome person I am, I call the fire chief. I'm like, yeah, you never tell me when you're sending these out for maintenance. And he's like, what are you talking about? And he was on a bad connection. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, hold on, guys. The door is bashed open. I'm like, I got to go. Bye. So, we found out that real quick that it doesn't matter if we're a firehouse or not. They just broke the front door, came through. They went through all of our equipment. The one thing that was actually kind of really scary is my house, I live attached to this property. The police told us that from the camera footage that we had and everything, they were out here. They said they were a few times casing the place out. They said that they were probably in here during rentals too. So they said that the way that they came in here and where they went, they knew where everything was and what they were here for.
Do we ever find who did the crime?
Unofficially, we were told that they were caught. It was part of a ring, and we were the 40th Fire Department that was hit. Um, I don't have any of this verified, but we received a call from a trooper down in Maryland saying, hey, I have your guys. It's the same cars. I just don't have your tools. He said, but I know these are your guys. He sent us the pictures of cars, and we're like, yeah, that's matches our video feed.
So you're there, everything got stolen. What precise items got stolen? You said there was a Jaws of Life.
So we have Homatro rescue tools. So they are the Jaws of Life, big cutters to cut your doors, cut the roofs of cars open. There is a ram unit you can put in, it just rams it. And then we have a couple spreader bars. They took everything, the power unit with it. The only thing that made me happy was they forgot the hydraulic lines. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, they couldn't use our tools and they were inconvenienced. So that's what I'm going with. But I actually took the tools that later that day and put them in the safe here. I'm like, they're coming back. They're not getting them.
Right, exactly.
Or sorry, the lines, not the tools.
So, at that point, you guys were in a bind because, obviously accidents don't wait for the machines to get reordered, and, budgets are budgets. So what was your first process after that? You went to the insurance company?
First process actually was covering our community, making sure that we have everything taken care of, because we quickly realized that we had an open investigation that needed to be created or needed to be completed, and we had a crime scene. We couldn't touch anything. So our neighboring fire department, Gap, we reached out to them, our chief, and said, hey, here's what's going on. He said, we're covering you until you're done. So they covered our entire area. It was only a few hours for the police to get their things done. But within time, they covered it. And Homatro, which was our tool dealer, they actually brought us a unit out immediately that night. So we had Gap covering for us if there was any type of accident. We had tools within a few hours. So we got through it. The challenging part was the insurance. That's fun. Now we have full replacement value, but something I found out for a cash-strapped fire department, you have to pay for everything outright, and then they reimburse you. And the replacement for these tools were almost $100,000 because they've went up so much in the last 5+ years. So we got through that. We're good, but just taking $100 and letting it get caught up for a month or two is just kind of insult to injury after you get robbed something that big.
It's crazy. And, obviously the point where, you guys are then thinking about how to replace it financially. I mean, I remember, seeing, the Hershey thing. I mean, you guys talked about it'd take, what, a year or two of fundraisers and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's so we did analysis. It takes about 2 years for us to gain these funds, because the problem we have is, hey, if we have a successful bingo, a really good bingo, we'll pull in $1,000 for a night. We do 12 of them a year. There's 12 grand. That's built into our operating budget. So we need to take our normal everything we do here and pile onto it and say, okay, hey, we need $30,000. Well, there's another 30 bingos we got to get done. We're not going to get that done in 1 year. So it really becomes a slippery slope really quick. And the biggest piece that we run into, we are right on the Lancaster-Chester County line here. Lancaster County hasn't really seen as big of a decline as Chester County has in volunteers. So we come into mutual aid. So then when they start falling low on their staffing levels, they'll tap us out. So on top of everything we're doing, we have to go like to the next town over, 2 towns over, which is fine. That's what we're doing. But then it just kind of builds a house of cards that you have to make sure you really don't knock over. So everybody thinks it's easy. You just put out a fire and everybody gives you money. No, it is so hard to get funding and everything. Luckily, we live in a great community, and they help us out as much as they can. But I mean, it's trickled down the lane. If we go and say, "Hey, we need $100,000," they're going to say, "Where are you going to get that from?" Oh, by the way, we need it every year, and they're like, "Whoa!" So we do a lot of ROI, some studies, and things like that. We hit a lot of grants. We try to minimize the community impact on here because I don't want to pay extra taxes, and I'm sure you guys don't. Nobody else does either. So we try to sacrifice everything we can here, to, at least for our community. That's why we're here. It's not just to save you from a fire; it's save your sanity and make life easier for everybody.
Well, you said it, the community, and that is what it's all about. And that's always been, the fire departments have always been the center of the community. And,
Absolutely.
one of the things that I have a question with, I mean, let's face it, it's always been a community center. So almost like a door open policy, you can always come in, you can volunteer, you can come in for help, whatever. Like, obviously this changes things. What happened to your department changes things. How has that changed? What kind of measures have you had to put in, or have you put in, as far as security and that kind of thing? I'm sure that whole situation, on top of everything you've already described, is a pretty daunting challenge.
Oh, that was great, especially when the powers to be say, "Hey, how you upgrading your security system?" Because those cameras were really grainy. And you're like, okay, how am I going to upgrade that security system? And we went out and started pricing it. And I'm like, all right, $5,000-$6,000. We can do that. $5,000-$6,000 for a consumer home grade. For a business grade, you're looking at $20,000 to $30,000 plus. So Pennsylvania Skill really helped us out a lot. We had our security system upgraded. We have a full remote high vis AI camera system now. We have access controls. We actually have the 24/7 monitoring built into the camera systems now, where if they see somebody is breaking into our building, they're going to call me and say, "Hey, walk out back." So, so that's one of the things that we were able to accomplish with that. Get rid of our aging camera system and our aging security, and we access controls. All of the doors were upgraded. If glass is broken, we have glass monitors. So really, it kind of took that stress off of us here. And we don't know how we can ever repay, the public, everybody like that, other than just doing what we do every day and providing excellent service to our community. But,
well, you just hit it on the head. One of the things that, we've learned through our experiences with Pennsylvania Skill Games is how much of an impact they have in the communities that they service and the communities that they deal with, the operators, not just, helping keep, all these nonprofits and small businesses in business, but the reach out for the community hubs, like the fire departments. Like, you don't see companies like that. That's why we're so proud that they're our sponsor, because, and we take that very seriously, because not too many organizations are going to do that. And let's face it, there's a lot of choices they have to make. The fact they invest in fire departments like yours, in situations like yours where there's a desperate need at time, they come in, they make it happen. I mean, it just goes to show the character of the organization. That's one, like I said, it's why we're so proud to have them as our sponsor.
Same here as well. We are so proud of PA Skill. I will tell you, I'll be honest with you, I really wasn't too clear on what PA Skill was before this event happened. Now it's awesome. I really hope the state doesn't ruin it or change it or tax it. But we wouldn't be here right now to the degree we are without the donation from PA Skill and our friends over there.
It's amazing. I mean, I think people need to understand at the end of this, fire companies raise money so they can go fight fires and protect the community. So when things like this happen, there's a big gap, because not only do they still do that job to pay for the basic bills, the fuel, the PPE, all the stuff they have to do, they now have to create that basically that gap. And it's really a great story how PA Skill stepped in and helped you guys, get back to where you need to be. So again, at the end of the day, guys, it's volunteers protecting their community. It's a pretty amazing thing what first responders do, especially in Pennsylvania, where again, it's over 98% is basically volunteers. So Mike, we really appreciate you today. Is what we have to look forward to at the Christiana Fire Company moving forward? Is there any cool events coming up? Anything we can do shout out for you for?
We actually have a kids camp, community outreach program every summer. It's in August. You can check our website out. We'll be posting it in the next month. It's a great thing. We've actually had at least 3. We do like a day in the life of a firefighter for kids, and we start out and we do all the way up to age 10. We've actually had 3 saves from that program in the last 10 years. Just as soon as last year, one of the it was a 4th grade, or I'm sorry, a 5th grader. His dad was choking, and he was actually declared, give him the Heimlich maneuver he learned here. So the other thing we do is when we get those success stories, we invite them to we have a yearly awards banquet, and we recognize them there, as a member of the community and from our program that they learned that, and we'll give them a little award and everything. So we try to cultivate that as much as we can, and we've used that as a funnel program here. And it's not just into our fire department. We do that we work very closely regionally with our fire departments here. And you were saying the cost of a ladder truck. It's funny you say that, because the reason I know that is our neighboring fire truck has a ladder truck there, and they just needed to buy it. When we saw, 20 years ago, even then everything was so expensive, we all got together and said, hey, we're not all buying tankers. We're not all buying the stuff. Why don't you buy one thing? We'll buy something else. We'll buy something else. And that way.
Well, thankfully, there's guys like you that are, qualified, that know what they're doing. Like I said, you could run a grocery store tomorrow, just so you know. I mean, guys like you that have that sense, the business sense, to be able to guide the ship in the right direction, because it's a massive business. And I'm so glad you touched on some of the stats that you've touched on, because I don't think, including myself, before we started doing this, I didn't understand. You kind of, I think as a citizen, you just kind of think, okay, fire departments are covered by tax base. They're cool. They're covered by the tax base. They're good to go. Like, a lot of people don't realize how much you guys have to kind of, like you said, rob from Peter to pay Paul, and that kind of stuff, and share equipment with departments, and manage trying to get enough people to volunteer for just the, nightly events. I mean, a lot goes into it, and I'm so glad you touched on it, because it really, for the people listening, I think it's going to be an eye opener for a lot of people.
It does. It's not terrible all the time, but it does. Sometimes it is a huge struggle trying just to wrap your head around, okay, how are we going to handle this? How are we going to do this? And then you get into, okay, we got our plan. All right, we got to wait till the meeting next week and then talk about it there and get it approved. So most of the time when you think you got it nailed, you're like, oh, you got to hit the pause button or, oh, we got to go do this instead.
But the reward of training a kid to save his dad, I mean, that's where it pays back for us. Like, we go through all this stuff, but then, seeing somebody work their way up from cashier to store manager or general manager, or seeing a customer come and be so excited about the product that's being out there, or an interaction they have with one of our employees, or be able to, as our stores, be able to contribute to the community, help organizations, like that is where it all pays back. And I can see from your face, it's the same with you. I mean, that's the reward for what you do.
It is. Yes, absolutely. Helping your local community. And I mean, that's what we're here for.
Well, Mike, we thank you so much for your service heart and for that of your companies. You guys going out there, volunteering, putting out fires, and keeping our community safe is a huge shout out to you. And again, really appreciate being on the show today. It's a great community you operate there in, and we're glad that, obviously you have all the equipment you need now, and, the security to keep it protected.
Yeah, we appreciate it too. We appreciate PA skill and you guys, everybody down to our community. We had so much camaraderie just from the community and not from you guys. Just from people hearing this story, I've received a couple checks saying, hey, here's $1,000, pay your insurance deductible. So I got a couple of those, which was awesome. So we have some really good people out in the world there.
Well, you guys heard it here. Make sure you support your local fire companies. Make sure you get out there. Next time you see the booze, Ryan says, throw a 20 in it, maybe a 50. Hey, if you have 100, throw 100 in it. But guys, make sure you take care of that. Again, Mike, thank you so much for being on the show today. Really appreciate it. And guys, look forward to seeing all of our guests coming up here on the Checked Out Podcast.
Remember the thrill of your first childhood game, maybe tic-tac-toe? Genuine Pennsylvania skill games recaptures that excitement, offering easy-to-play, win-every-time experiences at your favorite local spots. Imagine a game where a little skill consistently turns credits into cash prizes. A game you can enjoy with others and even help them win. No need to just imagine. Genuine Pennsylvania skill games, championed by the PA Skill Alliance, are real. Go to paskillalliance.org for more information.
But we're ready for this week's retail stories from around the world, and we head to the little place called Poland where the green frogs are taking over. Zapka.
Green frogs?
That's the business. So Zapka, the word means little green frog.
What's Zapka?
Zapka.
You know, Poland is a great country. Comes up with words called Zapka and, of course, pierogies. Those are two pretty good things. And I think they're vodka, aren't they?
Potato vodka.
Oh,
So good.
so good.
But yeah, it literally means little frog. And so there's signs, if you can see down below, is like almost like an Amazon Zapka. And then it has like the little green smiley face for like a little green frog. But just like our friends in Norway, when the European Union started passing all the laws, like, hey, you can't work on Sunday, loopholes.
I just can't believe they have 10,000 stores.
Yeah, in Poland, there's so many. The average walk between stores is less than 1,000 feet.
I mean, that's unbelievable. That like makes Sheets look like, you know.
Well, yeah, but think about this, though. One thing I have to say for our European friends over there, when they're like, you know, we're just going to go down from Germany, from England. Okay, that might be like a 12, 14-hour drive. Try to go from Pittsburgh to L.A., or Texas.
Yeah.
People don't realize Texas is like twice as wide as Pennsylvania. So it takes 5 hours to go across Pennsylvania, 6 if you're going the whole way up to Scranton. But if you go across Texas, it's like 2.5 times the width of Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, no, it's absolutely crazy. One thing I got to say though, for European countries, and I love Europe. I mean, they're great. I mean, let's face it, we meandered over here from Europe. Our people are from Europe. So
Unless you're playing poker there,
unless you're playing poker, I'm gonna be a little careful there. Don't want to end up in the gulag. But no, but you know, Europeans, they throw these places up so fast. I mean, let's face it, retail in our country. Let's look at Aldi, for instance. I mean, they're slapping an Aldi in there. Like, you look and there's like, you know, a dock in the middle of a field. You come back 2 weeks later and, you know, they're having a grand opening of a new Aldi. Like, I don't know, you know, 10,000 joints. Like, what are they building this stuff out of? I don't know. Let's just put it this way. You know, what's the thing of, you know, the guy that had the house? There was a straw house, there was a brick house, there was something.
Little Pig?
Somebody was blowing something down. The big bad wolf was blowing the houses down. I will say this, you know, no offense to the European builders, but as rapidly as they're building all these joints, I don't know if I want to be there when the big bad wolf comes trying to blow the house down.
You know, they invented the bunker, right?
Well, yeah, but it also took them, you know, 4 years to try to figure out that they couldn't blow each other's bunkers up. I mean, they just hunkered down. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be anti-European because, I mean, we are European
right.
ancestry. I mean, you know.
But the Zapka, they started out when they passed the blue laws in Poland, and they said that the only people who can stay open is postal stations. So guess what the little frog did?
Started selling postal.
Cut a deal with the postal service that they're one of the exclusive providers. And they opened up so many locations, became so popular. By the time they fixed the loophole, it was already too late. They're everywhere.
I love that.
It was like a plague of green frogs. And now, just like our Norway friends, they're taking the frog business, getting rid of the people, and now it's all AI. Credit card go in, you just like Norway, you do your shopping, boom.
Wow.
And think about this. There's no theft. You know why?
No.
If all of a sudden inventory is short, they go back, they pull AI up, look at all the footage, they just hit your credit card.
Yeah, but by the time they go back and track all that, the guy's halfway to, you know.
But he still has a credit card.
Fargo, North
They
Dakota.
they cooked his credit card.
Well, maybe it was a stolen credit card.
They cooked that person's credit card. Somebody's paying.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. From the retailer standpoint, they've taken away their liability.
Right. But it sucks for us, though, because, like,
beautiful.
I enjoy the aggressive hospitality I provide to people that are stealing from me.
10,000 stores.
There's a lot of stores.
It's unbelievable, actually. I mean, it's brilliant, you know? It's brilliant. 10,000 stores. Maybe we got to do that. Maybe we got to get some kind of a postal situation going on. not postal in the way of, no, we're not going to do anything violent.
Oh my God.
But I mean, incorporating some,
Hey.
I like it. Outside the box thinking, man. I mean, that's your wheelhouse. I mean, this story has to be like, whoa, that's amazing.
Are you safe at home?
I think so.
Okay.
I hope so. I sleep pretty good.
Am I safe going on a plane with you tomorrow?
I hope so.
Because you're not feeling your postal tendencies, are you?
Knock on wood. Yeah.
Jeez.
Knock on wood. Wow.
It's a little dark. I like it though. I like the energy. Energy over here is intense.
Sometimes on the Checked Out podcast, we just like let our minds wander, and we appreciate the fact that you guys are sympathetic to our limitations, or just think it's funny, whatever. But appreciate you tuning in and going through our mental processes together.
Well, the next part is actually kind of exciting because talking about why everybody's going towards this, basically credit card pre-authorization to come into the store. We're moving into retail trends and how small independent retail places are combating the increase in theft. We talked about Canada a few weeks ago. They're having one of the largest spikes. America's not too far behind. They've seen a 10% increase in the last 5 years of shoplifting and shrink due to shoplifting. So we're about to talk about this week's retail trends. Aggressive hospitality.
Aggressive hospitality, it's an old school, trend. It's an old school practice. I mean, when you used to go, even you go into some local shops now that are still in towns and stuff, and some local retailers, especially like higher end retailers, man. You walk in there, especially a Joe like us. If a Joe like you or I walks into like what's like a Gucci, like we walk into a Gucci, man. There's people on us. Like, and I don't think that they're not like afraid that we're going to steal or whatever, but at the same time, they're on you, and it comes across as customer service, and I think that is part of it. But they also, they're just trying to make sure slip a little cowhide in the pocket on the way.
Oh my God, man steals a cowhide. The cow tail.
Cowtail.
Or a full cowhide, whatever kind of store you're in. And that's amazing. It's over $110 billion annually, though, is the total shrink. And, when people think about, like, grocery stores, you have security cameras, you have people watch them occasionally and stuff like that. But, we go back to the 16th century when the first term was coined. That back then they started, it was like the old fashioned, there'd be a wall of goods. You tell the guy what you want. The guy gives you the money. You give the guy the money, gets the goods. They started putting stuff into glass, like display cases. And in England, they called them lifters. They'd lift the stuff out of the case and steal it. It was one of the first documented shoplifting in the world on paper. And so, it's crazy how it continues to progress. And, by the time 1699, Parliament passed a law making shoplifting a capital offense. If you stole a piece of linen worth more than 5 shillings, they'd hang you. Wow. Hang you.
That's wild.
I mean, not a hand. We're hanging you.
Maybe we need to go back to that. I mean, how crazy would that be? Like, I think, somebody rolls into our store and they're looking at those toothbrushes and thinking, okay, I can take a cold $3.50 from this guy right now. They're going to have to think about it a little harder if they know that at the end of that $3.50 toothbrush is the hangman's noose at the center square of town.
Yeah, I'm just calling to warn everybody. Yeah, he's talking about hanging people now and how excited he is over toothbrushes.
Well, I am kind of upset about all these shoplifters because you used to be able to roll into a store and get a toothbrush for like $1.
Yeah.
Now it's like $3.50.
Well, it's all of it.
It's crazy.
But did you know that it's not usually customers that steal? It's more internal.
Yeah, and I can see that. It drives me crazy. Even like meaning to steal stuff. Like I'm always reminding all of our people, hey, the 25 box cutters you have at home under the couch, that's like $25.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all that kind of stuff. The pen a day that is in your ear that ends up, the dog's chewing on it behind the couch. That kind of stuff adds up, man. And that counts. I mean, it's not intentionally stealing, but it's stuff that was used inside the building that was then taken outside the building and not brought back.
We grew up in Leesburg, right? Like I did at least. There's a steel mill there. There's a table made from the steel mill in everybody's basement. Toilets, all kinds of stuff.
It's crazy.
But no, the crazy thing is I remember that story in Leesburg when I was younger. this guy was stealing steaks and going across the street and selling them to the restaurant. Remember him?
Oh no, I really remember him.
Yeah. You know what I did to him one day? He came in. This is before he finally actually was doing it. And Dad was like, hey, watch that guy. So you know what I did? He came up. I'm like, hi, sir. How's it going? He's like, I'm good. What's up? I'm like, I'm just making sure you need everything. You know what? Those steaks look heavy. Let me hold them for you. He's like, no. I got him. I'm like, no. I must insist. While you get your seasoning for those, let me hold those heavy steaks for you. And he looked at me. I looked at him. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. And he's like, I'm like, so let me hold those steaks for you. He's like, okay, here, you can hold the steaks. I'm like, all right, need anything else today? He's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. And he's like, I'm good. I'm like, okay. And I just stood there. And he went, he's like, hey, I'm good. I'm like, yeah, I'm just making sure nothing else happens. We're good. I'm good here to help. You need some seasoning? Anything else for your steaks? And like literally, it was like going on for like 5 minutes and he left. And then a couple weeks later, you guys caught him stealing.
I mean,
a very aggressive hospitality.
It's very aggressive hospitality. I mean, you know, you have to have a semi-aggressive hospitality, honestly, as a small business. Our stores are thankfully built in a way that being smaller and having as many employees in the store and having people at the front, people at the back, keeping each other accountable, keeping the customers accountable. I would like to think that we're probably ahead of the curve, but I'm sure. I mean, I don't even want to know. Actually, let's talk about something else because I don't even want to know what's leaving the door.
I'm really excited about this next segment, guy. Pull out your brown bag.
Oh, yeah. My item of the week. Oh, man, this is one I don't know if I want to shake.
Don't shake that one. Aggressively
I'll give it a
shake.
little. I'll give it a little. Just a little nestle back and forth. Everybody will see in a second why. This, again, non-sponsored, just one of my all-time favorite products. And it's going to be a shocker because, at least in the containing store, we sell 8-to-1 Pepsi products versus everybody else. But, honestly, and I don't drink a ton of pop anymore. Soda for our friends to the east, but pop in Western PA. I don't drink a lot of pop anymore, but I'll tell you what, man. If I could have right now $1 for every one of these boys I've downed in my lifetime, I mean, possibly retirement. I mean, it starts with this. You know, on a warm day, you know, you get this ice cold thing.
Is that cold?
It actually is pretty brisk. I mean, we're like in a cave down here in the studio. This is like a cave. It's like the Bat Cave.
I don't know when Uncle Jack comes out. I think I hear him upstairs.
Here it is. You hear that crack? You hear that? You hear that?
Crisp.
Hear the fizz?
Crisp.
Hear the fizz? Fizz is probably going to be my doom, but just like MJ. Remember Michael Jordan drinking a Coke? Just like.
Was it McDonald's too with Larry Bird for a while? That was cool.
I mean, you got Santa. I mean, this is probably very out of date.
Yeah, where was that one hiding?
I grabbed it. It was in Leechburg on the return rack. You know, the stuff they're going to give us credit for. I assumed it was just a damaged case. August 10th, 26.
You're good.
We're good. It's a little scary, I will say, drinking a product that's, you know, good for like a year. But hey, here's to it. Coke.
Well, it's interesting. You know, did you realize that Coca-Cola is the second most recognizable term in the world?
Oh, man.
All languages, all cultures. Second most recognizable, only behind the word okay.
Well, I can't speak for Santa here, but I can say that I can understand why. I mean, it's good, man. I mean, you got to look past the sugar. It is great. And a little sugar is good for you.
Well, while you're
I don't know about 39 grams, but hey.
Pure sugar. Well, you guys realize that it was actually invented in 1886 by a wounded Civil War veteran and pharmacist named John Pemberton. He was deeply addicted to morphine at the time, just like our boy Stonewall. Got mowed down by his own boys. From the war injuries, he was trying to invent a medicine to cure his own addiction.
Well, you invented some good medicine.
Oh, it's great medicine. And the original formula was called the Pemberton's French wine coca. It was contained actual cocaine extracted from cocoa leaves mixed with massive doses of caffeine and a cola nut and marketed as the brain tonic to cure headaches, fatigue, and I'm not making this up, hysteria. So it's cure hysteria by doing coke.
So it is true. Again, that was a myth for me. I didn't know. Like, so it is true that cocaine was originally in Coca-Cola.
Yeah, oh yeah. Wow. So, I mean, if you were addicted to Coca-Cola, you could have your heart explode. But in 1903, but this day only the company in the United States, this is crazy about Coke too. It's the only company in the United States that's legally allowed to import coca leaves. They have a special deal with the DEA and a plant in New Jersey that imports and takes all the cocaine out, sells the cocaine to pharmaceutical companies, and then uses basically the spent leaves to flavor the Coca-Cola. But it's still Coca-Cola leaves, coca leaves, but literally production of cocaine.
That's unbelievable. No wonder the whole world got addicted to Coke.
It's very addicting. And it's crazy. The DEA is a major contributor to, like, as far as making sure the Coca-Cola flavor still is cocoa leaf based.
Well, let's face it. I mean, they're just looking to make some cash at the time. Like, we can charge these guys this much.
Yeah.
It's going to, create whatever. It's going to take care of stuff. We're going to make a lot of money off of it. And so let's just pass it by until somebody calls us out for what's
So
up.
they're still doing it.
Well, I mean, but there's no cocaine in this thing.
No, it's coca leaf, though. Flavoring.
Oh, it's pretty good.
And
I will say.
And did you know, when I always hear about these big conglomerates, when they have the vault for the secret recipe?
Yeah.
You know, that's real.
I always wondered about that because, I mean, somebody has to know what's in it because they have to know to put it together. And another thing about Coke that I found interesting is, like, there's not like a Coke bottling. I mean, they sub out the bottling to different groups. So, like, those groups all have to have the recipe, right?
Mm-mm. They send them the syrup.
Oh.
Here's what's amazing. So it's literally on a piece of paper inside this crazy biometric vault. Only 2 people in the world at any given time know about it. Like the real recipe. It's 2 executives. It's so crazy they can't fly on same planes together.
Wow. That's nuts.
They're the only people who have access to the vault. So, like, literally, it's their biometric scans that gets them in the vault. So those 2 people are the only people who know how Coke is made.
So how does it determine who gets this knowledge? And, like, what happens when one of them retires?
Just kidding. No.
Gulag!
The Coke in the sky. No,
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. But as far as, like, actively working in the world, there's only 2 that have it.
Wow.
And to your point, that if you retire, yeah, you probably still have the information. But to the same point, like, they control, like, the consistency of the product over a period of time. But think about it, every Coke in the world, only 2 people know how it's made.
I don't know if I want to be one of those 2 people.
No, that's a lot of pressure.
I'm picturing, what's that movie where the president in make-believe land, the president and a bunch of people, the president and his couple staff members were taken, and the guy from 300, Gerard Butler, he was in charge of, like, guarding the president.
Oh, White House down.
White House down.
Oh my God.
I'm picturing that. I'm picturing them, like, torturing the other guy that knows the information beside me, knowing I'm next. Yeah, I don't want that information.
No.
I don't want that job.
I would
Whatever the job is that you have to be that, I hope that dude or dudette is really well taken care of financially.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
It's a big recipe.
Well, think about this. Like, what happens if that guy's a little loose or she's a little loose and has, like,
What do you mean by that?
maybe they have like preconditions. Maybe
Okay.
maybe like they start drinking too much or pounding too much Coca-Cola.
Okay.
Like, who knows? Like,
Yeah.
how do you control to make sure that information doesn't get out? Or what happens if they get mad and they go on, like, YouTube and be like, here's what the real Coke is?
That's a lot of pressure, man. That's a lot of pressure that I don't want. I'm just gonna have the occasional Coca-Cola, like I am right now, and enjoy the flavor. And yeah, that's it. I can see it. I mean, it's still great, man. It's great.
You and Santa over there.
Me and Santa. And Santa, what a great partner. I mean,
That and the polar bears.
you get Santa on anything, you're golden. We should come up with our own Santa. Santa labeled steaks. Steaks sent from the North Pole by Santa.
North Pole Steak Company.
North Pole Steak Company.
Well, why do you think about that? I was thinking about you're at Ryan's retail story of the week.
My retail story of the week doesn't have anything to do with Santa or Coca-Cola. It has to do with the training of a butcher. Like, people are interested to know, and like when Brand's talking to friends and stuff, they are interested to know that I actually am a trained butcher and that we're like 5th generation butchers. And so I thought it'd be cool to just tell the story of how it came to be, like how I became a butcher. Well, that wasn't the plan. I remember Dad originally, when I went to college, when I went to Shippensburg out of high school, Dad had just bought the store, and it wasn't really determined at that point if I was going to come to work for him or not, because he was just starting off a store. He didn't know what was going to be there. I obviously had aspirations to join him and help build a business. I mean, that was always Dad's dream, to bring back the Sprankle name. We had 2 slaughterhouses in Tyrone and had businesses, and different things led to that falling away. And Dad, it really stuck with him as his life goal to kind of bring that business mindset back, bring the Sprankle name back in the business community. So I kind of was behind that. I mean, and I wanted to be a part of that. So, but I remember when I was going to school and you were in school, like, he was very adamant, like, I've been cleaning saws since I was 16 years old. I don't want you guys cleaning saws. I want you guys to progress into business leaders and whatever. But, one thing that I thought was, I need to know that business. I need to know the mechanics so that, we can be credible as meat guys, and so that we can be able to fill in, especially the early years, be able to fill in when guys go on vacation. I mean, even this summer, we got a couple of our guys going on vacation. I'm probably going to have to pick up a couple of shifts. So it's great to know, but it's also just great to know the mechanics and be able to speak to it. It gives us the credibility. So I'm very fortunate in that. But like, it actually, I got out of school, he still would not, he was like very adamant, like, you're not learning how to cut meat. And it became like a thing I almost wanted to learn just because he was saying I couldn't. He had me do other aspects of the business. And then finally, one of our main butchers at meat managers at Leechburg, who actually just visited the Leechburg store, visited Dad and I, Tony Caliper, shout out to Tony. Dad's like, okay, we got Tony here. Tony was he was a great butcher, came from a family of butchers. He was a meat supervisor for one of our warehouses. I mean, the guy really knew the business. And Dad, I think, had some trust in that and had him train me. So Tony trained me along with John Zanotti, whose family was in business in Hyde Park forever. And they trained me. Norm later at Vandergrift added his input to me. Joe Oliver, I got a chance to work next to him and see how he did things. And it's funny, like, Howie Chrisman, our meat manager in Katanning, even Mike the Meat Man now, I haven't cut meat with him, but I have a couple of times, but I pick up things with him. But it's funny, same with you. Like, for me, the education and hearing the stories of all these meat guys and their history and their family's history and how they came up, and like seeing how the mechanics, learning how to make money, selling meat, like, we sell really high quality meat at a great price. In order to do that, you have to be executing at a high level. There can be very little waste. You have to make sure the presentation, the merchandising is on point. You know exactly what to do out of every piece to maximize the profitability, keep the costs low, keep the retails low. That whole education and all those guys and all those stories and the after work beers and a couple shots here and there, all those experiences with all these guys really helped feed. And hearing their stories helped kind of, I hear it in the podcast. I mean, sometimes when I'm telling a story, it's those butchers telling the story through my words. It's Pap Sprankle talking about, 30 years ago, you got to keep a bottom round roast below $5. Yeah, listen what I'm trying to tell you, grandson. Halftime he called me a nephew. Listen what I'm trying to call you, nephew. You got to keep a bottom round below $5. I mean, all those things kind of lead into the brain that I have now and the way I think about things now. And it helps us with the retail stories, helps us to be able to execute on a high level and hashtag save on meat, everything we do in the meat world. But I'm just very fortunate, all those guys, that Dad finally said yes and allowed me into the family secret of learning the trade, because it is a trade. I mean, it's a trade. It's a very, very proud that I am a fully trained butcher, and it's just nice. It's nice to be able to carry on that lineage,
Well, I'm glad you're training. I forgot how to do it.
I mean, enough to get by.
Not according to Mike. Oh my God, I'd fill endless a year with Mike. Talking about this, taking a guy who's green like me off the bench and have me fill in. And Mike was like, "Hey, Tumbleweed." What? That was my nickname, Tumbleweed. No, you're Tumbleweed. Mine was like Chipsteak or something. It's so funny.
Yeah, because I come in and go.
Yeah. You're Tumbleweed. I'm Chipsteak. And he's like, "Who taught you how to do assorted chops like that?" I'm like, "Wait, these are assorted chops."
Oh my, you didn't even know. Oh,
He's like, I thought you trained with your dad. I'm like, well, I did. And he's like, were you awake? Like, it's so funny. But to your point, though, the skill set of having that base level knowledge of the meat department, which, people don't realize if independent stores now, the meat department, fresh departments in general, but the meat department is the core of the store. The big guys can't replicate that butcher experience. And for you to be able to have that skill set's amazing. And, it's funny. I think that part of that skill set is your investments in the Band-Aid company. Because I can tell if you're cutting meat, because you'll go off because it's a skill, so you have to go with it. I can tell if you're filling in a week because you'll come to the store, you're just there's this massive heaping of Band-Aids. You're like, hey, how's it going?
well, the irony is, it's never because of the knives or anything like that. It's always grabbing a box in the cooler and turning it too quickly and banging my wrist off one of the carts or off one of the racks or something like that, or catching a box cutter or a massive paper cut on one of the boxes. It's always some whatever. But the meat industry is so interesting, and learning that, I'm so glad that I did, because now I would not have the time and everything we do now to go back and learn. But just knowing that, and the mechanics, and it can be applied once you learn the meat department. It can be applied to every single part of the business, because in the meat world, literally, you have this piece of meat. You take it out of the box. Right away, you lose a bunch of money with the purge that comes out of it. And you have this cut of meat, and you put it on the table. And you have to make a bunch of good decisions and merchandise it properly, and know how to merchandise it properly, to your point about knowing on the assorted chops. People might think, oh, I like assorted pork chops. Yeah. But you don't like... I could take the same 9 assorted pork chops. Shout out to Tabitha Crispin at Katani, great meat wrapper. Howie's wife, she is a stickler for this, and it took her 20 years to finally get me trained properly. But you can take the same 9 pork chops, and you can arrange it in the package a bunch of different ways. But there's really only 1 or 2 ways that are going to be make it look the best, make it appealing, and make people want to say, okay, it's a value cut. I want that value cut because it looks really good. But you take some guy that's just throwing them in there, and you take the same 9 cuts and you put it in the package that I would have done before Tabby got done with her drill sergeant school with me, and it doesn't sell.
No.
But all of a sudden you put it the right way, organized the right way, wrapped tightly, neatly, and you're like, whoa, man, that's only that much? Okay. And it's real art. It's real art.
And that's the thing, too, you can't replace in our small world. You're the owner, business manager, whatever, and you're working side by side with your crew every single day, and they're teaching you. I mean, that ability to be able to work with somebody like that, it really humbles you, and I think it makes you a better owner/manager.
For sure, and then you know what they're dealing with. When they tell you, hey, we need this. Okay, you do need this. How can we make it happen? How can we pay for it? How can we cost justify it? Where somebody that didn't have that background be like, whoa, wait a minute. You want to spend $60,000 on a meat wrapper? What are the two of you doing standing there? What do you call yourselves? But because you wouldn't have the mindset. Where if you do have the mindset, you realize, okay, I get that meat wrapper. Now all of a sudden, I can take the same amount of people, don't have to cut anybody, but they can produce way more. And if somebody calls off, we have some flexibility. You think that way because you've been through it and you see what they're dealing with. You're right. It really helps a lot in making decisions. Because let's face it, the meat department, it's your highest ring department. It's a draw to the store, but it's got the most expensive equipment.
And people.
Generally highest salaries in the store. So, the decisions you make, if you have the background of knowing what it takes to make that meat department, it's going to make you a lot more efficient and help you as an owner to, avoid mistakes and take advantage of opportunities, I think.
Gotta listen to the crew, man.
Gotta listen to the crew, man. Yeah. Gotta listen to the crew. That's my story, though. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. PA skilled players seek genuine PA skilled games. How can you tell the real from the imitation? The PA Skill Alliance offers a 4-step identification process to help you find genuine PA skill games. 1. Check for logos. Does the machine display official Pennsylvania skill game logos? 2. Look for Powered by Pace-O-Matic. Is it Powered by Pace-O-Matic visible on the game's case? 3. Assess business reputation. Is the game a reputable business? Genuine PA skill games were not intended to be standalone businesses. 4. Examine game style. Is it a tic-tac-toe style game that offers the option to win every time? Help combat fraudulent skill games by exclusively playing genuine PA Skill Alliance supported games. Discover more at paskillalliance.org. Doug's retail story. Boom.
So, for those who don't know, since we've started with our social media platform and everything else, we're a lot more reachable than we used to be. As far as like, it's easy to get a hold of us. So, in my world, there's two things I get nervous of. I hate when I see, Doug, please call this customer, a name and a number, no backstory. It's like a cold call, or just like my full name on an envelope that's sealed. Two things I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the first one is a customer complaint. Second one is a 2-week notice, 2-week notice. So I'm there, and I remember it was like a Monday, and it was a long day, and all of a sudden I walk in my office after doing a bunch of stuff, and I see there's a note for me to call so-and-so customer. And I'm like, all right. So I call the customer. I'm like, hi, I know who you are. Okay, great. They're like, you know what you did today? I'm like, what did I do today? They're like, you ran a stop sign and almost killed me. And I'm like, I never left the store today. What is she talking about? What was he talking about? And he was like, and I'm telling you, I'm calling the cops next time. You ran that stop sign. You didn't even look, and you almost T-boned me. It was so scary. I'm like, whoa, sir. I'm sorry. What was the vehicle? A truck. And I'm like, how do you know it was mine? And he was like, your name was on the side of it. It said Sprankles Neighborhood Markets, and it ran the intersection right by your Saxon location. And I'm like, oh shit, it's Ryan. Ryan ran the intersection because Ryan doesn't stop at stop signs if nobody's around.
Well, it's true. I mean, I use judgment. You know, if I'm coming up with a stop sign, I mean, let's face it, brake pads and brakes are very expensive. And, you know, the cost, the fuel efficiency, I'm not burning a bunch of fossil fuels and hurting the environment if I don't have to. When you slow down and you speed back up, you have to burn a lot more oil and a lot more gas, and it's not good for the environment. So if I'm rolling up to a stop sign and it's a clear situation, I can see very clearly and nobody's coming. I mean, I don't just hit the gas, but there, you know, I'll take a cruise through. But I mean, you know, who's that person? I mean, vigilante justice. I mean, what is happening right now? I mean, you know, they think they're like Batman. They're going to save the world. One person going through a stop sign at a time.
I think this was a red light, but yeah, no. This Cape Crusader calls me, so I'm there, and so then I'm like, well, are you sure? Yes, it was one of your vehicles. And now I realize it was you, and I'm like, well, obviously I'm her brother. I'm going to cover her. And I'm like, you know what? I think there was a crew member driving that truck today. And they're like, well, okay, who was driving the truck? It looked like you. I'm like, it wasn't me. I'm pretty sure it was one of our crew members. I'll make sure I look at the schedule and address this correctly. I'm like, let me go ahead and do that. And I'll call you back and follow up. I do apologize for that behavior. And they're like, bleep, bleep, bleep. I'm just going to call the cops. I'm like, I'm sorry you feel that way. Have a good day. Sorry it was such a bad situation. They're like, you should be sorry. And I'm like, and then once you get to the point where you're like, customers just railing you, like, there's only so much you could take. You're like, listen, I get it. We all have bad days. And I'm like, I am sorry. And then I got to the point where literally I was just like, I'm sorry, I got to go. I understand your position. We do apologize. Whatever crew member might have been driving that vehicle. But we do apologize. And honestly, I'm going to talk to that person at the next podcast and make sure they understand. Listen, people around here like to watch things. There's a lot of retirees out there. There's a lot of people who like to report stuff on the interweb. Be careful out there.
Makes me want to go out and run about 5 red lights right now.
Yeah, so if you're
honestly like that mentality doesn't work with me. Like literally, it makes me want to go out and literally like wait and just run about 5 red lights. I'm not saying that people need to, you know, obviously the rules of driving, you know, are there for a reason. I'm not saying you just haphazardly close your eyes and fly through. No. But I'm just saying, like, if you're in the middle of a country road, level, the fields are all cut, you know, you can see 200, 300 yards in each direction, and you're rolling up to a stop sign, and you take 2 or 3 looks each way, nobody's coming. I'm just saying, instead of stopping, 15, 20, through, get through and then get back to business. I don't find a problem with that. To be honest with you, I think I had a buddy tell me that it's actually not illegal to do that.
If you feel threatened.
Yeah.
You gotta feel like somebody's like armed gunpoint.
There's some wild stories out there.
Oh, jeez.
Look at the story Mike Ross told.
Valid.
You know what I'm saying?
Valid. I look at it like this. Here's the thing. Believe me, were you probably allegedly in the wrong? Probably. But here's the thing. What makes somebody so mad they hunt down somebody to give them a tongue lashing? Like, here's the thing. I'm a grown adult. I'm a business owner. Like, you yelling at me like I'm a child doesn't make you look good at all. And more importantly, the last time I called anybody to complain about something?
I mean, probably never.
I can't remember.
Yeah. I mean,
unless it was on purpose.
But it's not, it just doesn't solve anything. I could see if I'd have blown through, they'd have had to put on the brakes. They almost died. They had to change out their pacemaker. I mean, I could see if there were some serious, catastrophic repercussions. But that was not the case here. This was just the case of, I think, who do they think they are going through the lane? I'm stopping the lanes. Why don't they have to stop the lanes?
It could be. It's just funny, though, that because the brand is growing in 3 areas, got to be careful.
Like I said, yeah. But the Randy sprinkle in me, I almost want to stop the podcast, go out, find out what light that was, and blow through it about 20 times, hoping they're there again. But I'm not going to do that.
Don't do that. I'll be on tilt.
No, I'm not going to do that. No, we got to stay. We got to be in the zen. We got to be in the zen for our poker tournament. We got to be
ready,
chill, ready to go. Mentally, spiritually, one with the world.
And
ready
being
to
one with
take
the world,
when anything befalls us.
We're going to get back a little. Our last segment, one of my favorite segments. It's This Week in Retail History.
With Doug.
Woo! We're talking about S&H green stamp craze. Now, for those who don't know, Ron, if I told you 1960, this is pre-internet, pre-email, pre-faxing, all of it, that there was a company that was printing 3 times as many stamps than the government.
I would think it was some form of underground network, like the old school Italians running numbers before the lottery and everything. I would think it was some kind of a under the table, cartel, mob type of situation.
Well, we're talking about the SH Green Stamps, and because of it was the original rewards program by almost every retailer, grocery store in the country. It was so big that their catalog, think about this, there'd be a machine, big heavy machine, and the cashier would be hitting stamps based on your purchases. You would then fill these books up and go in and collect a toaster, whatever it may be you're trying to get. And it was a big deal. And again, it's one of those things where it put a lot of onus on the customer to keep track of it. It wasn't some digital app that kept all this information. You had to keep the books. You had to give Junior a job to do at night. He'd put all the stamps in the books, and then you'd pick out something cool out of the catalog.
Well, I'm so glad we've come to the point that all my digital rewards and Sprankle points and everything is in here, because I'll tell you what, if I wasn't responsible for hauling around stamps and books and whatever, the person following me would be the one saving money, because this isn't made for this guy. I'm so glad that we went digital, but it's always interesting on any of these processes to see the origins. It always starts off something like that. I mean, let's face it, start off that, there's still physical coupons at the container store. There's still $1,200 every 2 month worth of physical coupons that we send in and get redeemed. So people are still using physical coupons, but it's wild to see, and it's interesting to see how did all this start, who started it, and how did we get to where we are. It's always fascinating, whether it be retail or anything else.
Well, I'm glad you asked on this situation. S&H started back in 1896. Before that, they were using copper coins. They have these custom copper coins they'd use, but the coins got way too expensive. So Tom Sperry and Shelley Hutchison realized paper was way cheaper. They basically made it green because it looked like the color of money. And one of my favorite piece of S&H green stamps was in 1966. School children across PA literally remember the old on cereal boxes, the box tops.
Oh yeah, box tops for education.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Basically, children across PA literally pulled enough stamps together that they bought 2 gorillas. Like silverback gorillas. It was 5.4 million stamps. One of them, one of the girls named a female named Samantha went to the Erie Zoo. Imagine walking to the Redemption Center with 4,000 booklets of these stamps to pay for the gorilla. And you're like this, hey, here's the stamps. Throw the gorilla in the trunk. I'm taking it to the zoo.
You know, part of me thinks, you know, that stinks that has all went by the wayside. You're probably, we're only separated by 6 years, but we're separated by like a generation and sometimes 2 in technology. We've talked about that before, but were they still doing the Pizza Hut box tops or whatever, like with the reading program?
Yes.
Where you filled out your little card, you read all the books, you went in and got a free personal pan pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what we need to bring back? We need to bring back some kind of cool kid activity like that.
Yeah, like the kids club we used to have.
Kids club. Shout out to Brandy.
Yeah.
Something like that, but like interactive.
Yeah.
Which actually.
Something they can, you know, I think there's still something to be said for, I did this. I'm giving you this. No, you got to give me that.
Should we tease our summer promotion?
Well, why not? Why not? It actually, yeah, it's kind of an old school situation. Yeah.
So this summer, guys, super excited. It's going to be the summer treasure at Sprankles. We are going to hide 1 ounce silver coins, U.S. mint, around our stores, give out clues. People find them, they get the coin.
I think that's going to be so big. I mean, that's so cool. And those silver coins are so cool. And you said each one of those coins is worth what, $85?
Yeah, like 85, 90.
Yeah, and we did one giveaway featuring one coin, and I mean it was I think it was our best promotion of the year as far as likes, shares, interactions. People were really into it. Because I mean, let's face it, silver coin, it's only going to increase throughout the years, and it doesn't cost anybody anything to sign up or to qualify. It's a free roll.
Well, and the best part about it, for people who can't get to the store, you can still like and share for your chance to win. We're going to give it one way a week in the store physically and then one online.
Yeah, just for helping us get the word out on all of our ads and all of our propaganda. I mean, it's great stuff, man. That's a cool. I do like that, and I like the fact that like there's tangibleness to it. You know, I could do this, and yeah, it's on here, but I can get something. I can walk home with an article. It's not digital. It's not hidden. I'm going to have this. I'm going to be able to look at it, touch it, feel it's good.
Plus, it creates a new story for them.
Yeah, creates a good story.
Yeah, well,
That's how I got this coin.
Yeah, when I was like 18.
Silver coin.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're there on your deathbed. You can't remember your own name. But you're like, you know what? Before I go, I got to tell you a story, nurse, about this coin. Yeah, it's cool.
I like it.
But hey, speaking of stories, we're glad to be able to keep telling the Checked Out Retail Story podcast stories to you. And we're glad and very humbled that you're willing to listen on all the social platforms, which continue to do that, help spread the word, to help us keep being able to tell these stories.
And a massive thank you to Mike Ross. Again, appreciate so much coming on the show today. What a great history of understanding how fire companies work across the Commonwealth. And to all your first responders, thank you so much.
And hey, we took a nice adventure here. We drank America's beloved pop. We heard a story about some wild Polish grocers. Well, not grocers, retailers.
Retailers.
And how they've innovated. And, every time I hear a story like that, Doug, it just opens up the possibilities. It's pretty cool.
How about the silverbacks?
Yeah.
Using green stamps to buy a silverback gorilla? Like, I want to go to a place where I can buy a silverback gorilla or a capuchin monkey.
Yeah. You know what? The monkeys throw poop. And the silverback gorilla, if he gets upset that, you took the last Coke out of the fridge, it could be the end. It could be the end. I mean, everything, it's all fun and games with a silverback until it's not. And then when it's not, it's not good.
No, they get to get some, aggressive customer service.
Yeah.
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 Woo.
It's not good, man.
But guys, thank you so much. Thank you to our friends at PASkillalliance.org, representing genuine Pennsylvania skill games across the Commonwealth, supporting small fraternal orders, nonprofits, and fire companies, keeping the lights on and then protected as they fight our fires. Big shout, guys. Thank you so much. For more information, PASkillalliance.org. Remember, it's skill,
not luck.
Baby!
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. We can't do what we do without you.
Come and see us. How do you know you develop a serious wine problem? When the liquor store knows you by name.
Oh no, they love you. When I go into the liquor store, they're like, hey, we just saw your brother. He's in here all the time.
Oh my God.
And then they're always like, they catch themselves. This is a true story. They catch themselves and they're like, well, not all the time. I'm like, yeah, right. Like,